good, everyone? Welcome back to another day. We are on our 21st day and we're going to focus on some mindful movement. Today we'll be here for just over half an hour, I'd say. I'm placing this to one side, but you will need a massage ball or tennis ball just for the end. If you don't have one, that's okay. Something that you can always revisit at a later date, as we'll be practicing a little bit of soft tissue release. So all you need is a mat, a ball if you have it, and some refreshments to stay hydrated. It's all going to be ground based today. So I'm going to get you to lay on your back. We're going to start off with a few head nods. Bring your heels into your buttocks as you roll down onto your back. Get yourself nice and comfortable. And then connect with your breath. Find length through the spine from the tailbone to the crown of the head. And then circle the arms around overhead. Take a nice big stretch and gently interlace them behind the head. Then pillow the head in your palms. Keep that length through the back of the neck. And you're just using the hands for support here. Keep the elbows pulled back. So you're gently pressing the head into your palms. Then lifting as you tuck the chin. Let the back of the spine peel off of the ground. You're lengthening the back of the neck. And rolling down nice and slow, keeping that gentle pressure of the head pushed into the back. Or pushed into the palms. Exhale, roll up. And inhale, roll down. Final time, rolling up nice and controlled, staying with the breath, pulling the elbows back, and final roll down. Keep that length through the spine, out the crown, bring the hands down by your side and palms together. Gently walk the fingertips away from your hips and then circle the arms out to the side. Be sure to keep the shoulders down and away from the ears. Then send the hips over to one side and you're looking across and away from the knees. So you're trying to twist through the spine, looking for length through the spine and also a twisting, stretching sensation through the back. Inhale, draw the navel down towards the spine. And then exhale, twist over to the other side. Inhale, draw the navel down to the spine, peeling the hips onto the ground and then twisting over the other side. I want you to really feel each connection of each section of the spine as it reconnects with the ground. And feel each segment of the spine lift and peel away. You're looking for that intimate relationship and experience with the body as we travel through each of these exercises. Coming back to center. Then pull the thighs into the chest. You're lifting through the lower abs as you tilt the hips towards you. Bring the hands around the shins, and as you exhale, tuck the chin and lift the head into the thighs. We're going to gently bring the hands behind the thighs and roll back and forth as you rock up into seated position. See if you can come onto the tailbone, bring the legs to the tabletop. Losing my words today. Got to be mindful about that. Extend the arms out to the side if you can. If not, then just place the feet down on the ground. We're going to work through some 100s in this seated position. So there's always the option to float the legs down to the ground. Palms facing down, relax shoulders, short, sharp pumps, short, sharp breaths. Nice and strong core. Squeeze the thighs together just to help keep the legs zipped up. Even if you can't get it there, it's the effort that counts. Final breath. And pause. Bring the hands behind the thighs. Float the feet down to the ground. Set them hip width apart and then roll down through the spine. Slide the heels into hips, hands down by your side. The engaged core lift through the hips, one segment of the spine, lifting off the ground at a time, coming into shoulder bridge. Gently squeeze the glutes at the top. Feel the imprint of both feet, heels, and the balls of the toes. And slowly roll down, imprinting each segment of the spine. From top to tailbone, and finally untucking and releasing the core. Re-engage the core as you exhale, and then lift through the hips. Slowly rolling down once you get to the top. So I want you to perform one more shoulder bridge, keeping that deep connection and awareness with your movement and your breath. Hold at the top. Feel the calf muscles, the bottom of the legs, the backs of the thighs. Gently squeezing the glutes, feel the buttocks. Squeeze the belly, you're pulling the spine, the belly button into the spine. Feel the core engage and slowly roll back down. One section at a time, reconnecting. Let's take one leg up to the sky, keep the other leg grounded. You're going to wrap the hands around the back of the thighs with a long spine, tucking the chin, slowly walking the hands up the back of the thighs as you lift chest and head towards the front of the thighs. Looking for that stretch, deep or superficial, behind the leg. Loads of length here. And that nice strong engagement through the front of the body. So press the back of the leg into the palms, relax the shoulders, and then slowly walk back down the thigh. Rebend that leg and change side. Extend, reaching through the toes. Bring the hands behind the thighs, long through the spine, tuck the chin, climb up the back of the legs, lifting the head and chest, curling into your abs. Slowly climb back down. Pull both thighs into the chest. Gently rock out the hips, then bringing them back to center, roll up into seated position, crossing the legs. We're going to transition onto all fours. So bringing the hands beneath the shoulders, knees, beneath the hips. Engage the core, feel that upwards pull of your belly button into your spine, that lift in the chest as you push through both arms, all 10 fingers. And feel the imprint of the palms, fingers, knees, and toes into the ground. We're going to take one leg, keep the leg bent as we kick back, squeezing the glutes. Pause and circle the hips out to the side and bringing the knee back beneath the hips. Sweep the leg out to the side, retracing that circle that we just created and bringing the knee down. Changing side, keeping the hips level, the core engaged and the spine neutral as you lift that knee and circle it out. Again, retrace that step, that circle. Set the knee down. Let's change side again. So the smaller the circle, the greater control you'll have if you're finding it quite challenging. You want to keep shoulders over palms as we switch side, hips over knees. And maintain that neutral Pilates box. Setting the knee back down to the ground. Shift off of your wrists and gently give them a shake out or draw some circles in both directions. And then transition back onto all fours. Step back with one leg. And then we're sweeping the other leg beneath us for pigeon pose. So keep the hips nice and level. Extend the back leg along the mat. And feel your weight sink down into the hips while one heel nestles its way into your hips. The other side, you feel that open sensation through the outside of the hips. Length through the spine. You can walk the hands forwards as an option, drawing the chest closer to the ground. Keep the palms on the ground and arms nice and long. So forehead resting on the ground, extending through the arms. And then finally resting the forearms down. Staying connected with the breath. Finding some balance through the shoulders and the hips. Trying to keep them level and square facing the floor. There's so much happening in this posture. Gentle pressure downwards through my forearms to keep my chest elevated. Stretching out my lats. And the open sensation through the outside of my hips. And the heaviness of the hips as they sink further into my heel. And length through my back leg. And slowly as you breathe in, slide hands back to hips. Shoulders relaxed. Lifting the chest. Holding here for a moment if you were down on the ground. Draw the shoulders down and away from the ears. Find length through the spine, stretching out the abs. And then flex the back foot, lift the back knee, and we're going to transition through plank. Gently pedal, stretching out the calf muscles. And then finally, hold that plank, sink the hips down to the ground, point the toes, and then lower the chest all the way down to the ground. So you're going to bring your forearms beneath the shoulders, zip up the legs, squeezing the thighs together. You're pulling the elbows and shoulders down the spine, finding length through the neck, gently tucking the chin as you exhale. Lift forehead and chest off the ground, lengthening the spine, working into the lower back, holding at the top. Try and take a little bit of weight out of the forearms so the posterior of the body is doing all the work. Feel the back muscles really working, should I say, to keep the chest elevated. And then exhale, slowly roll down through the front of the spine. Bring the hands beneath the shoulders, squeeze the elbows in, draw the shoulders down. Exhale, lift forehead and chest off of the ground, hips stay down. So now we've taken the forearms away, using the palms for light support, working into the back a little bit more as you exhale, lift and squeeze, and inhale, lower all the way down. Flex the feet and let's lift chest and hips up through plank. We're going to sweep the other leg under our body and then set ourselves down into pigeon pose on the other side. Walk the hands forwards or find a posture that works for you as you float the chest down to the ground, stretching out the edges of the body, relaxing the shoulders, and then relax the forearms and settle into your pigeon pose. You might notice that the hips want to fall to one side. I'm trying to keep them level. Looking for that open sensation through the outside hip of that front leg, through the tops of the back leg. Feel the breath. Feel the breath as it enters and as it leaves. And the next time you breathe in, slowly walk the hands back to hips. Ground the hands, lifting the chest, and try and ground the hips a little bit more to open the abs. Draw the shoulders down and back to open the chest. And then we're going to flex the feet and come through plank, floating the knees down to the ground. Finally lowering the hips and chest. So forehead rests on the floor. Zip the legs up and feel free to point the toes. I want you to take the hands and interlace them behind the back. And we're drawing the knuckles towards our heels. lifting the chest, pulling the shoulders back and down. And then as you inhale, roll down, look over one shoulder, and draw both knees in as you rest the knuckles on the tops of the back or the tops of the buttocks. Squeeze the thighs as you pulse twice, and then float the legs down. Rise up, bringing the head to center, knuckles to heels, and then lower down. Bend elbows, rest, hands on the back, double kick. Extend, and lift, squeezing into your lower back. Roll down, double kick. One final time. Take the hands beneath the shoulders, flex the feet, push shoulders away from the ground, lifting chest and hips, and send the hips up and back into downward dog. And pedal through your downward dog, finding length through the back of the legs. Tailbone draws closer to the bottom of the mat. Chest draws down to the thighs and the ground. Relaxing through the shoulders, the gentle push through the palms, squeezing into the ground with all 10 fingers. Find some stillness in your down dog. And then float the knees down to the ground. And walking the hands forwards, we're going to send the hips just over the knees for puppy pose, opening the chest, floating the head down to the ground. Gently feel free to sway the torso from side to side, finding freedom through your shoulders. Then with the inhale, we're going to send the hips up and back. We're going to take the left leg and lift back, and then draw the knee into the chin and set the foot down on the ground in between the hands. Float the back knee down. And then we're going to take a nice big breath, extending both arms overhead for a kneeling lunge. And as we float the hands down to the ground, extend the front leg as we come into a nice half split. Feel free to rotate from side to side, trying to feel the stretch through the back of the legs. And then bend that front knee, transition back into the half split. Big stretch overhead. And then float the hands down to the ground, extend through the front leg, half split. Hold here. Find loads of length through the spine as you breathe in, then exhale, fold the chest over the front thigh. Experience that deep stretch through the back of the front leg, back of the extended leg. Inhale, final length through the spine. Bring both hands on the inside of the thigh. And then we're pivoting on the back knee as we bring the heel underneath the buttocks and then turning to the edge of our mats in this side lunge position. Let's take I'm extending my right leg, so I'm taking my left hand to the outside of my left thigh and then sweeping the right arm over my body, stretching the edge, breathing into my rib cage. Draw that top shoulder back to open the chest. And then as you inhale, float the arms up. So we're in this kneeling side lunge, and then take left arm up overhead, resting the right hand on the thigh, side bend on the other side. It's a beautiful stretch right through the waist into the lats. Inhale, float the left hand back down to the ground. Side bend. Lovely. And now let's just float the right hand back down as we walk the hands across, coming back into our half split. We're going to rebend that front knee. You might need to scoot it in a bit. And then extend through the back leg. And through plank, let's come back into downward dog. We're going to take the left leg up and back. And then pull the knee to chin, set the left foot down in between the hands. Float the back knee down. Kneel and lunge, opposite side. Arms float overhead. Deep stretch through the hips. Loads of length through the spine. Exhale. Set the hands down, framing the front foot. Extend the front leg for half split. One side will definitely feel tighter than the other. Whatever that is for you, that's where you should focus your attention to ease into the stretch. And then inhale, bend the front knee, float the arms overhead, kneel and lunge. And then exhale, float the hands back down, half split. Find length through the spine with the inward breath, and then exhale, fold the chest down towards the thigh. Deepen that stretch, keep the hips centered. Shoulders relaxed. Feel the breath as it enters and leaves. And then inhale, find length through the spine one final time. And we're going to transition to the edge of our mat again. So I'll turn around. So I'm facing you. And we're all on the same page. Pivot the back leg underneath you. Heel comes beneath the buttocks. And then we're going to sweep the right hand outside the right thigh. Float the left arm overhead, keeping the hips nice and lifted. Breathing into the left edge of the body. With the inward breath, pull yourself up through the left arm, resting the hand on the thigh, extending the right arm overhead for a nice side bend on the right. Then inhale, float the right hand down to the ground, sending the left arm overhead. One final stretch on the right side. And then float the right hand back down to the ground as we transition into a plank. Taking both legs back. Bringing the hands beneath the shoulders. Feet together or hip width apart. Drawing the belly button into the navel. Option to float the knees to the ground. We're holding the plank. Feel the core working, squeeze the buttocks. And without shifting your weight, just gently push your heels to the back of the mat, squeezing the tops of the thighs. 10 seconds left. One final breath in. Exhale, float the knees down to the ground, widen the hips. Shifting the weight back. Coming into child's pose. Resting your shoulders, forearms on the ground. Gently drawing some wrist circles in both directions, nice and slow. And feel the wrists as you draw these circles. Feel where the stretch is happening through the tops of the forearms as you draw the knuckles down. And then through the backs of the forearms as you pull the knuckles up. Take a nice deep breath in, rest the palms on the ground. And exhale all the air out of your lungs. Feel the space, the cavity between your chest and the ground. And inhale, inflate the ribs, inflate the belly all the way up to the top. And then exhale, empty the belly and the ribs. One final breath all the way in, holding at the top. And then sip through the mouth the last bit of air to fill it up to capacity and hold. And then slowly through the mouth, release the breath, fully emptying the lungs. Inhale, lift through the belly button, and you're going to transition onto your front, lowering the chest to the ground. And then you can rest your head on your hands and just shake the hips out. Find some stillness. And I invite you, in fact, to roll on your back. We're going to take the ball that's been sitting by the mat, patiently waiting. We're going to give our shoulders a little love. So slide the heels into your hips, feet hip width apart will do. Arms down by your side. We're going to take the ball and place it just under the meaty part of the shoulders. Be careful to avoid bone when you do this. So you're looking for the fleshy part of your shoulders is the traps that you're looking for. You're going to roll onto one side. Just position the ball nice and carefully, and then you're going to roll your weight back onto it. You're sliding across the mat in between the edge of the shoulder bone, and the neck, avoiding the spine. We're only going to stay here for about a minute on each side. And I want you to enter this just like your stretches, with curiosity and mindfulness, and feel for any points of tension. And when you find it, pause, hold for a breath, a nice deep breath. Then as you exhale, continue to explore. And slowly roll off the ball. And let's change side. So take your time positioning the ball. Make sure that it doesn't slip or that you don't roll onto bone. So move nice and slow, nice and mindfully, with complete awareness. Feel every little crackle, pop. That was good release. And slowly, gently, just roll off the ball. You can place it to one side. And just relax for a moment. Feel the entire spine from the back of your head through the shoulders, down to your tailbone. Connect with the mat and imprint. Feel the weight of the body. And with each breath in, fill the lungs, inflate the belly, and with each breath out, exhale and release any hidden tension. Take 2 more breaths here. And gently pull the thighs into the chest. Grab around the shin or the thighs. And roll up to a seated position to finish off. Feel free to continue stretching, explore any areas of tension that you might still be experiencing, but I like to hope and think that they've all melted away. So I'll leave you here in this beautiful space that we created, and until the next time, stay blessed. Peace.